Hello, this is Brett Etheridge with Dominate the GMAT, here with your GMAT Tip of the Week. The tip of the week for this week has to do with data sufficiency questions, and specifically this. The tip is to wait as long as possible when you're working a problem to try to figure out how, if at all, the two statements work together. The reason for that is that that's the hardest determination to make. You can do a lot of work before that to eliminate answer choices looking at each statement in isolation, individually. Take, for example, the problem behind us. Very simple, run-of-the-mill data sufficiency question. We're trying to determine, can we figure out what X is given those two statements? And again, the hardest thing to do on data sufficiency on the GMAT is to say, okay, how do those two statements work together? Now, in this particular question, it may be fairly easy. Obviously, it's an easy example. But on harder questions, it's hard to figure that out. What you want to do instead is make determinations about each statement in isolation, eliminate as many answer choices as you can, and only if you absolutely have to, look at them together. In this one, for example, you would determine that statement number 1 is not sufficient, because x squared equals 25 produces two possible values for x. And so you can immediately eliminate two possible answer choices. And then you look at statement 2 in isolation, x is greater than 0. Do we know what x is? No, of course not. And so we cross off answer choice B. And only now, as a last resort, would you look to see how they work together to determine whether or not the answer choice is C, meaning, yes, we can solve the problem if we look at both statements, or answer choice E, not enough information. But notice what we've done. Even if you can't figure that out on a harder question, you've at least put yourself in a position where you have a 50-50 guess. You've increased your guessing odds significantly by waiting as long as possible. So that's your tip for this week. Hopefully it helps. Go out and practice data sufficiency. Go out and dominate the GMAT. And I will see you again next week for next week's GMAT Tip of the Week.